Hello, everyone. So it's Monday, March 28th, 2022, and we are all living through some horrific information about what's happening in Ukraine and the Russian attempts to take it over, and the courageous resistance of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. What can we do about it here in the United States? So many people are asking that question, and I have two people with me today who are doing something about it, giving of their talents, of their minds, of their hearts to help the refugees in Ukraine and everything that's coming out of there that is breaking our hearts. So let me introduce two people that we're going to talk about this with today. First, Naomi Miller. Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi, it's wonderful to have you on again. Naomi is a very celebrated singer, actress, entertainer, Yiddishist, educator, a teacher at college for Yiddish studies, and she also has an interesting family background that helps give her the passion she has for this issue today. And we'll talk about that. And also her accompanist, Dave Schlossberg, who is, I understand, also a playwright, a composer, an accompanist, a musical director. So it's good to have you here also, Dave.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
be here. Thank you.
Yes. So Naomi, I know that because of your history, which we're going to get to, and your heart's desires and your talents, you want to put on a concert for Ukraine to help collect funds for HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which started out as a support program for refugees fleeing from Eastern Europe back in the 1880s, and now supports refugees from all countries, from all races, from all religions. So tell me, when is the concert going to be? And later we'll have some slides to show a little bit more information about it. But tell me about when the concert is going to happen and what it's going to be.
So the concert will be on April 10th at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. We have gathered approximately 20 to 25 performers who are giving of their talent, their time, and they will be presenting heartfelt songs of hope and peace. Again, it's April 10th, 2 p.m., Facebook Live. Dave, not only is he so talented as a musician, but he's very technical, which I'm not. He knows how to do a lot of technical stuff. So I wanted to ask Dave a question, if I may. Are you there?
Yes. Just ask and he'll come on.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah.
A lot of people are telling me that they're not on Facebook. So my question is, after the concert, will we be able to send out a link to people who couldn't see it?
Absolutely.
All right. Can I hire you to do that?
You can ask me, but you can also hire me. In fact, I'd prefer to be hired.
Also, okay. Also, Naomi, you will be able to put it, and Dave will help you put it onto YouTube. And once it's on YouTube, you will be able to transmit it to anyone and anywhere in the world.
Oh,
yes, definitely. And one other question. When you say Facebook, which Facebook page will it be on? For example, this program is being aired on Facebook Live Channel 14 Norwich. That's our Facebook page. It will be on the Facebook page of HIAS, or whose Facebook page will it be on? That's very important for us to know. So
ask him.
Dave, which Facebook page will it be on?
It'll be on Naomi Miller's Facebook page.
Okay, so Naomi, please advertise that Facebook page, my Facebook page, Naomi Miller, my concert for HIAS on April 10th. Okay, wonderful. So, now that we've gotten some of the technical things out of the way and getting ready to save the date, let me ask you, Naomi, because your passion for the refugee situation is very close to your heart because of your family history, my family history, so many of us have a history of our parents having been born in Europe or Eastern Europe and were subject to the persecutions and the oppressions of either the Russian government under the Tsar, under the communist system, or under Hitler. So tell us, Naomi, your history.
My parents were born in Poland. When the Nazis arrived, they ended up in the Lodz ghetto. Her father died of starvation there. My mother was one of 7 siblings. My father was married to another woman and had 2 boys. They didn't know each other in the ghetto, but they ended up then being transported to concentration camps. So my father ended up in Dachau. My mother ended up working in a ammunition factory. I always wondered, who was she making those bullets for? Well, who else? To kill her own people. Can you imagine, or I imagine, what that could be like for her? So when I think about the torture that my parents went through, the starvation, the cold, the freezing cold, the standing on line every morning when the Nazis were counting, the going left, the going right, all the things that just tear my heart apart when I think that my parents suffered through that, losing their entire families. My father, of course, lost his first wife and 2 boys. My mother lost her entire family. So when I think about them, I think about the Ukrainians. They're not locked up in a concentration camp, but it might as well be. I saw them leaving Ukraine, leaving their homes, and their homes being pummeled into nothingness, and escaping, holding children, holding pets. It just reminded me of what my parents went through, and I couldn't just stand by. I could not watch these people suffering, Jew or non-Jew. They were all suffering. And I felt that I had to do something because I couldn't do anything for my parents. When my parents came to America, my father became a workaholic. He just worked and worked and worked. Of course, Hayas helped him find employment. My mother stayed at home, and my mother grieved every day of her life for the loss of her family and what she went through. My father grieved every day of his life. So what's happening to these Ukrainians? When they leave their homes and the fear that they experienced, what is the trauma that's left? What's the psychological trauma? I can imagine, because I lived through it with my parents. They were never, ever, ever the same. And so that's my background, Sheila.
Right. So, Naomi, I know that you had to live with your parents and that kind of grief that was not always discussed, but always in the background for your entire life with your mother and your father. And I also know that you yourself are counted as a refugee because you were born in the displaced persons camp after the war, right?
Right. Yep.
Absolutely. And so, although you were a baby when you came to America, you were very young when you finally got passage to America, you and your mother and your dad. But you have that passion for feeling for the refugee, the homeless after some kind of tragedy. And we know that as of now, I think over 3.5 million Ukrainians have left and are refugees. The United States, President Biden just announced a couple of days ago that we would be taking in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, give
Oh,
them.
wonderful.
But that's a small drop in 3.5 million and growing. And I understand that if I'm correct in reading that about half of the children in Ukraine have been sent away, or either with family or without, as refugees. So this is a huge, they're saying, the biggest refugee problem since almost World War II. So your heart is where it needs to be. And let's talk about HIAS, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Although the word Hebrew is in it now, it now exists for all races, all religions, refugees fleeing oppression and war everywhere. Talk about that, Naomi.
Okay. So years ago, I was very curious as to whether Hayas had a file on my parents. Well, guess what? They did. And I ordered it, a file with, look at how many papers are in here. So after the war, we came to America on a ship called the Marine Tiger. I was 1.5 years old. And it turns out that you needed a sponsor in America to bring you here. My father's first wife's cousin lived in Maine, and I found out through this file who he was, lived in Maine, and he sponsored us. I just want to read to you. This is Hayas, a letter that was sent to our sponsor May 14th, 1946. We came to America in November of 47. So our sponsor's name is Mr. Joseph Seinart, Rumford, Maine, about Solomon Kalka. That's my father, Solomon, and my maiden name is Kalka. Dear Mr. Seinart, with further reference to our communication of March 21st, would you please advise us whether you have already prepared affidavits on behalf of Solomon Kalka, and if so, to whom were they sent? Very sincerely. Okay, so that was one. I mean, I could just read to you all of these papers. They were incredible. Here's one. This is Western Union, November 7th, 47. So this is very close to when we arrived. Joseph Seinart, no reply, October. Ray Kalka, Solomon Rosa, Chuma, my Yiddish name, Chuma, arriving New York City, aboard Marine Tiger, November 14th. Wire undersigned whether you will house, maintain the family, and etc. I don't want to go into too much detail.
The point you're making, Naomi, is that HIAS was the agency that worked with all the refugees as they made their way through the process of applying, getting the sponsor, getting all of the things that you needed to go to the United States. They were there at every step of the way, and they were there in America on the docks, there to help you when you were getting resettled. And that's what they do, and they're doing that now. And many people are donating for that wonderful help of HIAS. They've done it for way over 100 years in every refugee crisis, that we have had. Let me ask, go ahead, Naomi.
I was just going to say that HIAS does not have an office in Ukraine. They have a partner. The partner is called Right to Protection. So it's interesting because a friend wanted to donate diapers. And I called the staff member that I've been in contact with at HIAS. And I said, how can my friend send diapers? And she said, don't send. don't send those packages because it might get lost in the process. Send money to Right to Protection. I mean, send money to Hayas. Hayas sends the money to Right to Protection. They buy the
Right,
diaper.
right. So,
They will buy all the supplies so that they will be absolutely sure that the money's going directly to Right to Protection and they'll do the
right.
purchase.
Exactly. All right. Let me bring Dave in for a minute. Dave,
Hello.
you have been Naomi's accompanist and friend. Is that right?
Yes, for many years, longer than she's been around. I mean, you know, I don't even remember when we met, but we've been doing shows, cabaret shows, ever since for years and years. And Naomi is a very dear friend of mine and a very talented performer. I've told her over and over again that she has performing in her blood. She has it; it runs in her veins. So
In
so
my
for me,
varicose veins. It runs
I
in my
I didn't
varicose
say it.
veins.
You did. But in all honesty, my relationship with Naomi has always been around making people happy. We really are very dedicated to providing a quality show and to providing high quality musical content, so that our audiences leave fulfilled and happy. And over the course of the, I don't know, 10 years that we've been together, it seems like, we've really we've made a point um, to we've made a point to have a great collaborative relationship where we are both equal partners in our shared goal of, getting music to the masses
Right.
and and being able to express the inexpressible, because music does that. So
Right.
that's what we've been doing.
So that's wonderful. And as much as so much of your music is for happiness, entertainment, it's also, especially because of this concert, for enlightenment, for private and public expressions of grief, sorrow, hope for the future for these
Mhm.
people. So many
Absolutely.
different emotions come through with Naomi's singing and the pieces that you choose. So I want to ask Naomi first, give us an idea of the kinds of songs you will perform, and then I would like each of you to give me a little sampling. Now I know because of the technology, we really can't have you performing together. That we're not sure there will be a complete symmetry with your piano and your voice. So maybe each one can give us. Naomi, tell us, what are the kinds of songs and performances for this concert are you choosing?
Well, when I recruited my colleagues, I asked each of them to send me a self tape or a pre tape, songs of hope and peace. I will be singing 3 songs. Everybody else gets 1, but I got 3. So I heard a magnificent lullaby in Ukrainian, in the language of Ukrainian, to the children. And I'm sure all of you have seen pictures of the children sleeping on the floor all next to each other, maybe 50 children in a basement and sleeping on the floor in Ukraine, in some shelter. And children that were shot because Putin was just targeting civilians. My heart just sank. So I am in the process of learning this lullaby. I don't know it yet, because it's in Ukrainian. So I'm not going to sing it for you now, but by April 10th, I will know it. And Dave has composed an arrangement for it, so we will be doing it together. Another song will be a song called Save Them Now. My husband, my late husband, and I, and Larry Hockman, who is also a composer and arranger, we wrote this song, which was originally dedicated to the righteous Gentiles who saved Jews during the Holocaust. When I looked over the song, I realized that I never mentioned the Holocaust in this song. But what I did talk about was how courageous it is for a stranger to risk their lives and save another stranger. And so I would like to sing this, if you don't mind, for you. Are you ready, Sheila? Should I do it?
Yes, go ahead. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, here it goes. Should I risk my life? Should I put my family in danger? What will become of me if I risk my life for a stranger? I cannot eat or sleep. Should I do what my conscience tells me? I cannot just stand by. What I know in my heart compels me, sheltering people I don't know. Hide them, feed them, save them. I can't pretend that I don't know. Save them now. Though I risk my life, though I put my family in danger, I will do what's right. I will risk my life for a stranger. I'll help the people I don't know. Hide them, feed them, save them. I will protect them from the foe. The fear I'm facing will not show. I will do what's right. Protect them from their plight. Save them now. Save them now. Save them now.
Beautiful.
Thank
Perfect,
you.
perfect expression of what we need today. Really lovely.
Yep.
And it will
Thank
sound
you.
even more glorious with Dave's accompaniment, I am sure.
Oh,
So
oh,
Dave,
thank
to follow Naomi, although it's hard to follow her, can you play us something? Give us an idea of something that you think will be part of the program that,
Sure.
echoes the sentiments of the song.
Sure. So what I'm going to present to you is a little bit of a taste of a song called Oifen Pripyatchik. And this song was written by Mark Warshawski, who is a Ukrainian poet and composer. And the song itself is about, this will be an instrumental, but the song itself is about teaching Torah, teaching the letters of the Torah, the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, to kindergartners and to school-age children. And what I find most stirring about Oifen Pripyatchik is the fact that in the final stanza of the actual song, the lyrics talk about how the speaker hopes that the children can hear the tears in every letter of the alphabet that they're learning, and so it's a very it's a very poignant piece because it talks about how even in the most kind of mundane the most mundane situation of teaching kids, the letters of the alphabet. I mean, like that's something that we all did growing up. We had to learn how to read, how to write, all this stuff. But in that simple act, there's a whole new layer of meaning. And there's also the years, the tears, the experiences of the person who's teaching, and the message of hope and of determination and of courage that are all within those simple letters. So with that, I'm going to play a little bit of Eufen Pripyatchik. This is my improvisation, so I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. That was lovely. That was lovely. And as a student way back in the 50s, around the corner from my house in the South Bronx, I studied Yiddish. Eufen Pripyatchik brennt da Feierl und ein Stub ist heiß. And the kids are singing ABC, Aleph Beis. Wonderful, wonderful song. And I didn't know that it was written by a Ukrainian. I think
He was born in Odessa.
there you go. Unbelievable. And so we're going to get to our slides where we're going to talk a little bit more about that immigrant experience and the refugee experience. So let me turn to the slides. Okay. Can you all see this?
No, not yet.
You see it now?
You have to share your screen, Sheila.
I did. I did share the screen. We'll do it again. Okay. All right, here we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the first slide is what I created for Naomi. There you are. Highest, welcome the stranger, protect the refugee. Concert for highest and Ukrainian refugees. And now we'll turn on to the next slide. Is talk about this one, Naomi.
So this is a flyer that I have posted on Facebook. In fact, last Thursday, I was performing in Florida. And I sang Save Them Now toward the end of my concert. And the club that invited me was kind enough to run off this particular flyer. It's a save the date. At the end of my concert, I told the audience that I would be selling my CDs and 50% would go to Hyas. So they came up and they bought CDs, and I was able to send a check to Hyas. So we already have raised almost $2,000 before April 10th. My goal, which I hope is not too high, is 18,000. So I hope we're going to make it. But this is a Ukraine benefit concert, approximately 20 to 25 performers. Sunday, April 10th, Facebook Live, 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to donate now, go to Naomi Miller's Facebook page, my Facebook page, and you'll see a post with a link. And you can click on that link and donate now.
Great. And so that will be the link to watch the program as well on your Facebook page, Naomi Miller Facebook page, April 10th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another, just some more information, a flyer, Welcome Justice Empathy Highest that they put out. Here we have another example of recent families fleeing the war, getting on the many train stations, most of them going to Poland, Romania, Moldavia.
Notice how much luggage they have.
Very
Nothing.
little, of course. Right.
I don't see anybody except one man carrying a tote bag and
Right.
another bag, but leaving it all behind.
Yes. You know, the interesting thing is, and you and I have talked about this during the Holocaust, when Germans and other Eastern Europeans fled, whether it was to other countries in Europe, to America, to Australia, to Palestine, many of them thought or had a hope in their hearts that they would return one day to their homes. So I'm thinking, what's going through these people's minds? Are they thinking, this will only be temporary? I will return to my home. Hopefully it won't be destroyed like so many other buildings are being destroyed now. I think there's always that feeling in your hearts, this is a way station. I'm going to refuge. I'll be safe. But when I come home, it will be there. Of course, tragically for families like yours in Poland, in Germany, all over Eastern Europe, that was not the case. They did not have a home to go to after the war, and so many people perished in their families. So we have to await the fate of Ukraine over the next few months, right? See what develops.
Yes.
Yes. Here's another one. Look at that. All the people striving to get someplace, to get on a train, to get someplace to go. And this shows how many people in the world are willing to, that's the United States Congress, highest supporters, willing to give their homes and their hearts and open up America to refugees. And this is something in the past that Highest has done and always will continue to do, right? And now, so Naomi, we're going to talk about your family, but if you notice at the very top of my mother's and my grandmother's passport information, leaving Romania in 1923 to go to Ellis Island, what does it say on the top of the page?
Something.
Highest of
America.
Highest
Oh.
of America, Bucharest. So this is 1923. They helped my mother and my grandmother leave. They had to live for 2 years in Bucharest in Romania until they could get passage, have a sponsor, like you said. And this is Highest helping them. There you go. Now we're going to go to your family. And now tell us about this photo.
So this is my father, his two boys, Jacob and Herschel, and his first wife. So I told you that his wife and two boys perished. Um, my father was a plumber and a mechanic, but he loved to dress. I love this outfit that he's wearing, carrying a briefcase. Um, I just can't believe that he went from this to being a prisoner, that he lost this beautiful wife and 2 boys. Just can't believe it.
I know it's unbelievable, but yet it's a reality for so many Holocaust survivors. I was been reading about your family, others where the one of the couple, the bride or the groom, who met in the displaced persons camp right after the war, married there, had children in the displaced persons camp, like you. So many of them had lost a prior spouse and even children, like your father,
Yes.
and yet
Yes.
managed to find another partner to love, met in the displaced persons camp, which were established all over the areas where there had been concentration camps in Germany and Poland and so forth, and were able to find someone to love, to have children, and then to find a place to have refuge, like in America, like your family, right? So that's your
Before you move on, I'm just looking at the background. Look how freely everybody's walking around.
yeah.
I mean, the man to the left of my father is gingerly walking away, and everything seems so peaceful, and reminds me of the fact that I was able to go to Florida last week, go on a plane, go into Florida, rent a car. Everything was so easy.
Yeah.
And here we have my parents, and again I go back to the Ukrainians. They're not walking gingerly, they're running. They're running.
Right. This is the world's history. Who is in this picture?
Okay, so this is a picture, the only picture, well, there's 2 pictures that were saved after the war. And this one is a picture of my mother's sister. She is sitting in the first row, second from the right. And it's my tante, my aunt, my mother's sister. Her name is Liba. Her full name is Liba Shifra Halpern Cohen. So my mother's maiden name was Halpern. And interestingly, over the years, I have posted this picture on various sites to see if anybody recognizes not only my aunt, who I obviously never met, she perished according to my parents, but sometimes there was no communication. How did people know whether people perished or survived? So I keep thinking maybe my aunt survived, or maybe some of these people in the background are recognizable to somebody on Facebook or on your TV show that might be able to shed some light on who these people were or are.
Naomi, did you know where this was taken? What was the occasion? Who these people represent in your aunt's life? Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, and unfortunately, growing up a teenager in America, the last thing that I wanted to know was the torture that my parents went through, the losses, the murders. I was a teenager. I was more interested in dating, you know. So I didn't know very much. And on the other hand, my parents wanted to shelter us from knowing about the torture and the murders. I didn't start asking questions until the 80s.
Yeah.
I was seeing a therapist, a psychotherapist who worked with children of survivors and survivors only. And she was the one who gave me the courage to start asking. I have some tapes of my parents speaking about the Holocaust, but unfortunately, I did not ask her about this picture, so I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I don't think you were alone in your family history, because from everything I read and hear from people and friends, the world was, I think, almost in shock and in silence for 20, 30 years until people started to open up about it, And then there was a burst of information coming out in the 70s and 80s when people opened up for the first time. So I think I call it the world being in shock for such a long time and not
Yeah,
wanting to delve into it. Yeah. So your mother lost everyone, her parents and
everyone,
all her siblings.
everyone.
Yes. So that is a tremendous trauma to have to go through life with, and for you to have as a legacy from your parents too.
Right.
Yeah. Now let's see what the next is. So tell us about this slide.
So this was um, the document my father. Um, it was a certificate that tells that he was born in Lodz, that he was in a concentration camp, and the camp was Dachau. His prisoner number. My father did not have a tattoo, but he had a number, 95598.
Hmm.
And he was liberated July 12th, 1946.
Wow.
So this is an incredible document to have.
1940. It says 1945 here.
I'm sorry. 1940,
45. Yeah.
1945.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is hard to read, but tell us what this is.
So this is instead of a visa, this was a document that my parents could use as a passport to come to America. So it has their names, their birthdays. I believe it even has my name somewhere. I have the original, it's hanging. I don't know if you want me to take it down. I would have to leave the screen, but that's basically what this is. It's a passport.
Right. Okay. Oh, that you on the right? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, little Chumala, they used to call me. That's my mother. My mother was very, very, very sick when she was liberated. She told me that she had typhus. So I imagined that at the time that she was liberated, she was very emaciated. Here she looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And there I am, a year and a half old. The ship's name was the Marine Tiger. That's it. The two pictures. This one and the other one with my aunt are the only
Right.
pictures that she had.
Right. And you landed in New York.
In New
Right.
York. I don't know where in New York.
Yeah.
Because the documents that I have from Hayas didn't tell me whether we went through Ellis Island. I'm imagining that we did, but
Well,
it doesn't
yeah,
say Ellis Island.
it's a good question, because we know that Ellis Island basically closed down about 1923, 24, when our immigration laws changed and it was much harder to get here from Europe. So it'll be interesting to find out exactly where your ship docked. That might be in the records of the ship. So interesting. Let's see this. Oh, this is an interesting one from Hayes.
Oh, yes. case number, whatever, something, something 47, date 12/5/47. We arrived in November of 47. So December, a month later. These are the clothes that they bought for my mother. A coat. Now, remember I said I imagined she was emaciated and very sick from being in the Holocaust and then having typhus afterwards. But here she is wearing a size 16 coat, a dress, 18, 2 slips, 2 panties, 1 pair of shoes, stockings, and 2 brassieres.
Yeah.
Look at that. The brassieres were only $2.50. What a
Right.
bargain, right?
Yeah. So you see the.
I wouldn't know.
What, Dave?
I wouldn't know how much they cost.
Go ask your wife, Katrina. Go bring her in here.
But Naomi, this shows the breadth and the detail, how deeply they got involved, right, in the refugees' lives to help them get a start and get settled in America.
That's right.
Or wherever the settlement is going to be. And these same kinds of things will be written up as the Ukrainian refugees make their way to various places of refuge around the world. So
Right.
This is a wonderful example of the intricacies of what they do on a very minor, not minor, important, but
Right.
personal level. Yes.
Sheila, you have to imagine that they actually measured my mother. How
Yeah.
in the world would they know what size brassiere she wore?
Yeah.
You know?
They might have taken a good look. They might have taken
Or,
a good
but to know
Yeah.
that she was an 18,
right. Yeah.
I'm just, this document, I'm telling you, I think I should frame it because it's a very symbolic document.
It really is.
I'd like to, if I may, Sheila,
Sure.
I just want to add that, what Hayas is doing here is taking care of the not fancy stuff, the not glorious stuff. This is all the ordinary work that needs to be done. So if you support Hayas, you're supporting their ability to give these refugees a semblance of a normal life. And the things that we take for granted, the things that no one gets any credit for, this is beyond just, I'm buying you a home. This is the nitty gritty. These are the
Right.
details. And so
Exactly.
when you support them, you are supporting the tasks that really make it possible for these people to
Right.
get their lives back.
Right, David. It just absolutely brings to life what the word humanitarian means. We think of it as such a lofty, lofty concept, but you're right. It gets down to the panties and the bras and the pajamas and just what you need to breathe and live at the most basic element of life. And very, very good point. Very important. So you're right. This is a wonderful exhibit for people to see. Oh, so I had the last one, I think, is just of you, Naomi Miller Sings. There you are. Where was this one taken, Naomi?
Prague. We were invited to present a show to the Jewish community of Prague. And we presented this in their JCC with armed guards at the door. It was an incredible, incredible time for us to go there and present. I did a show primarily in Yiddish for them.
That's Naomi's first language.
Right.
Yeah.
We know that. Yeah, we know that. And now we're going to get back to that was some great photographs and great commentary. Thank you so much, Dave and Naomi. Yes, we know Naomi, I will say, happens to be my Yiddish teacher. And she's not just a Yiddishist. I mean, besides being an entertainer, she sings in many languages, right, Naomi? Not just Yiddish. And I'm sure that the concert will have several languages by the different singers who are participating.
The truth, no.
No?
However, I happen to know a Russian/Ukrainian choreographer. He has donated a Ukrainian dance for our concert. Um, I mention that I have a son who's deaf?
No.
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 Well, interestingly, I found a video of two deaf people signing the national anthem of Ukraine. They are in
Oh.
costume. They're signing, and you can hear them singing in the background, the chorus singing the national anthem. So yes, there will be the Ukrainian languages. None of the other performers are singing in foreign languages.
Okay. All right. But you still have the lullaby and the sign language thing will be very nice.
And Dave playing a Yiddish piece on the piano.
Yeah, right. For Ukrainian piece. Wonderful. All right. So April 10th, 2 p.m. on Naomi Miller's Facebook page, a special concert for HIAS, for the Ukrainian refugees, for an organization that, as we said, helped our families, helped families for over 100 years, from Eastern Europe to all over the world now. Everywhere there are refugees in need, HIAS is there. So I want to close by having each of you tell me, first, Dave, what's the most important thing? What would you most like to say now to me as your summary to end this program today?
Well, I would like to say that it is my hope that you tune into this concert and that you take from it a feeling of spiritual uplift. It is my hope that you feel hope, that you feel a whole mixture of joy and sadness, because nothing is ever simple. And so this concert is our attempt to truly to manifest our shared humanity and to bring it out into the world so that we can fill the world with the love and the music that we so desperately need. So it's my hope that you tune in and support us and support all the many artists and people in the production kind of realm that have worked so many hours to make this happen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. It's great to have you on, and good luck with the concert for you. And now, Naomi, your final thoughts. What would you most want to say now as a way to summarize our program?
I think we would have to have another hour. But what comes to mind is that my husband was in hospice at home in his last days. One of his caregivers was a man named Vitaly. At the time, I didn't know that he was Ukrainian. When the war broke out, first person that I reached out to was Vitaly. I said, Vitaly, what can I do? I can't stand by. And he said, we need money, because the money will help us get out of here. And so that inspired me. Vitaly inspired me to produce this concert. I want the Ukrainians to find shelter in every country that they go to. I want them to feel welcome. I want them to come to America and feel welcome here. I am so sorry that they have suffered the loss of their homes and the loss of their country. And I'm so proud to hear about their president leading the Ukrainians to not give up, to keep fighting for their country, and I hope and pray that they get it back.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Naomi, for your inspiration, for your talent, and Dave, too. So let's just one more word. Sunday, April 10th, 2 p.m. on Naomi Miller's Facebook page, Naomi Miller, Miller. And we'll see you then. We'll all see you
Wait,
next time on Talk.
I have
Something else?
one last thing to say.
Go ahead. What?
Sheila,
Yes.
how can we thank you for bringing us on to do this? You are giving publicity for this concert. I imagine that we will get a lot of donations, and it's because of you. And you did your homework. You're a fantastic interviewer, and
Thank you.
I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
And thanks,
But
Dave.
it's because of the interesting people like you that I can drum up to bring on to tell us what's happening in the world, what we need to do as a people, how we need to move forward and help out wherever we can. So great. So good. See you later, Naomi and Dave. Wonderful to see you. And we'll see you all next time on Talk Back.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.